Potential spoilers for Star Trek Picard Season 3. If you don't want to get spoiled, click off this video right now and come back at a later date. Hello and welcome back to the channel where until my birthday on the 10th of March, which is about 2 weeks away, I am going to be posting daily content as of today. So, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be ranking the 8 confirmed Enterprise ships. So, from the NX01 to the Enterprise F, since the Enterprise F in Star Trek Picard, in case you don't know, is due to be decommissioned. It was in service for 15 years. Something happened with the ship systems, and it's after the big event that's happening, in Star Trek Picard. They're going to decommission it, essentially. So yeah, how do I know all that? Well, it hasn't been leaked. It's actually been confirmed by Star Trek themselves over on the official Star Trek Logs Instagram account, which the writers do write for that as well. So that's how I know the Enterprise F is due to be decommissioned. So when we do see her on screen, she's not going to be there for much longer. With that being said, it's time to rank the 8 or so not Constitution class, the 8 or so Enterprise ships, not including the Discovery era Enterprise, from season 2 of Star Trek Discovery to Strange New Worlds, and the Kelvin Enterprise, as well as the Kelvin Enterprise A. Those 3 variants of the Enterprise won't be on this list. This is the prime timeline ships. I know the other Enterprise version for Strange New Worlds is a prime timeline ship. It's literally just the same ship, just slightly changed from the original Constitution class. So with that being said, let's get into ranking these Enterprise ships. So in the 8th spot, I have the original Constitution NCC 1701 Enterprise. Main reason being, it's not that nostalgic for me. She's grown on me over the years. Before, it still is, my least favorite version of the Enterprise. But the Constitution look has definitely, the original Constitution class has grown on me quite a bit over the years. But out of the 8 versions of the Enterprise, she's definitely not my favorite. There are better designs for the Enterprise that are just, to me, way better than the original Constitution class. Now, I know a lot of people would say this would be higher up on their list, but for me, the Constitution class is just the bottom of the list. Now, that's not counting the refit, but I'll get onto the refit in just a moment. So yeah, number 7, I have the Excelsior class Enterprise B. I love the Excelsior class. It's definitely, becoming one of my absolute favorites over the years. But as an Enterprise, we don't really see much of her at all, except for in, books and that. There is, the one appearance at the beginning of Generations, and that's it. We know essentially next to nothing about the voyages of the Enterprise B, and that's kind of why she's down so low on this list, unfortunately. Like I said, I love the Excelsior class. I love this version of the Excelsior class because it's slightly tweaked from the Excelsior class that we've seen from the Search for Spock to present. But yeah, she's just, without seeing much more of her, I had to have the Enterprise be this low. So next, I do unfortunately have the Ambassador class Enterprise C. She's a beautiful ship, but we only really, again, like the Enterprise B, we only really get one story with her, and that is Yesterday's Enterprise. like we don't know when she launched because her launch date is classified. We don't know how long she was in service, probably not that long, and we don't really know much of like what adventures the Enterprise C has been on. As well, Rachel Garrett, the first female captain of an Enterprise, and we know next to nothing about her. I'm pretty sure in some expanded media, in books and that we might have gotten some information, and that would be about it. I'd love to see more of the Ambassador class because after this, it kind of just became a background ship. But yeah, unfortunately, I have to put the Enterprise C this low. Okay, so we are at the halfway point with the NX01 class Enterprise, the original first Starship Enterprise, the first Warp 5 capable ship that could reach warp speeds of 5.2. Uh, when watching Enterprise for the first time, I definitely fell more in love with this ship. I mean, it kind of also looks like an Akira class ship, but you can also then say, the Akira class was inspired by the NX class because of how timelines work in Star Trek. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. I genuinely love the design, the simplistic design of this ship, and it's the first saucer only Starfleet ship that we've seen. I was about to say Federation, but this predates the Federation by a good 10 years, and I just genuinely love it. I love seeing its early voyages, and I wish we could have seen more with either the NX01 Enterprise during the Earth Romulan War, or some of the other NX class. Give them a show, like Columbia. Get to see what actually happened to the Columbia class, NX02, or any more. Like I know again, I keep saying expanded media. The books have covered what happened to the Columbia class and all that, but still, hell, I'd even take a season 5 of Enterprise more than anything. Okay, now it's time to talk about the refit Enterprise, which was, the refit Enterprise and then the Enterprise A. I'm just counting it as the Enterprise A, even though we only really see her at the end of the voyage home and then in the final frontier and the undiscovered country. So we don't really get to see much of the refit Enterprise A on screen. We still, of course, have the first 3 movies to enjoy the refit anyway. Um, but yeah, so this is to me the definitive look for the Enterprise. It might not be my actual favorite Constitution variant. That, of course, goes to the 32nd century Constitution class, seen in Star Trek Discovery Season 3. Again, I'm getting sidetracked. But to me, the look of this ship, the look of the refit, um, to me, screams the perfect Enterprise. To me, when I think back to the first Enterprise as well as the Enterprise A, the look of the refit is what immediately comes to mind. Not the original Constitution class. This to me is a beautiful, beautiful ship. It's beautiful in design, the nacelles, the saucer section, the deflector dish is pretty good. I definitely prefer this version of the deflector over the deflector that we got in the original Constitution variant. This to me is the definitive Constitution class, excluding the 32nd century one. That one still looks a lot better than this. Anyway, moving into the top 3 now. It's gonna shock you a little bit. In third place, I'm gonna have to give it to the Galaxy class. This to me is even more sleeker in design than the NX, not the NX, the refit Enterprise, and she's just honestly a beautiful, beautiful ship. I just love the look of it. Like I know I said that the Constitution refit is the definitive Enterprise, but that's only for like classic Star Trek. If we're talking, next gen onwards, The argument can be made that this is the better designed ships. I mean, as well, in all of Next Generation, a lot of the ships that we see are essentially kit bashes of the Galaxy class. And all of those, well, some of those look nice, the ones that don't have just the one nacelle. I'll get onto that at some point. But yeah, the Enterprise D to me is more nostalgic than the Constitution refit. And it's definitely one of my favorites, hence why I have it up so high on my list. Now let's get on to the top two. I mean, come on. Are you really surprised that this is so high on my list? Yes, the number two goes to the Sovereign class, Enterprise E, and it used to be my all-time favorite version of the Enterprise. But obviously, you know what number one is now, and I'll get onto that now in a second. But yes, first scene in the best Star Trek movie ever made, and my personal favorite Star Trek movie, First Contact, we get to see a look of a beautiful, beautiful, sleek Sovereign class Enterprise E, and my god, does she look beautiful. I mean, it's no wonder this is everyone's favorite starship class. Like, in the past, every time I've watched someone do their top 10 favorite starship classes, the Sovereign class is always number one, usually. And it's hard not to see why. I mean, look at her. She is gorgeous. And was, as I said, my personal favorite version of the Enterprise. But after playing Star Trek Online and after it being officially canon now, the Sovereign class was dethroned. Yep, my number one pick has for my favorite Enterprise has to be the Enterprise F. I know we haven't seen her on screen, and when we do see her on screen, she's due to be decommissioned. But I mean, come on. Look how beautiful the Odyssey class is. The Odyssey class is such a massive step up from the Sovereign class, and she's a beauty. I mean, this was, in case you didn't know, back when Star Trek Online first came out, they held a competition for fans to design what the next Enterprise would be, the Enterprise F. And this is what we got. This was a fan submitted design. Obviously, it was tweaked a bit before being released into Star Trek Online. And we now have a canon. They actually made this canon. They could have designed their own version of the Enterprise F and left this in as non-canon. But she's canon now. And I absolutely love her design. And I love every single last thing about the Enterprise F. I mean, just look at her. She's gorgeous, and I can't wait to see the Enterprise F on screen in Star Trek Picard for the last time, essentially, because, decommissioned and all that. But she had a good 15-year run from 2386 to 2401. Can't really complain about that. Nice, solid 15 years. 5 more years longer than the NX01 got. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow for whatever video I have decided. I haven't decided that yet. I really should get on that.